Okay, so today we are going to solve quadratic equation by using the method which is what we call as factoring. So let's give examples of a quadratic equation, then let's solve it using factoring as a method. So let's have example number 1. That is x squared plus 9x is equal to negative 8. So in order for us to solve this quadratic equation by factoring, so it's a must that we have to rewrite this equation into its general form, which is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So if that is the case, that will become x squared plus 9x, then move negative 8 to the left side of the equation. So we can do that by applying one concept, which is the addition property of equality. So once you move it to the left side of the equation from negative 8, it will become positive 8 or plus 8, which is equal to 0. So since it's already written in general form of the quadratic equation, we are now going to use factoring to solve for it. So we are going to apply the sum and product method for us to solve this quadratic equation. What do we mean by sum and product? So this last term should be the product, while this numerical coefficient at the middle term is the sum. This is the product, ito naman yung sum. So we are going to factor this first term, x squared. We know that the factors of a quadratic binomial are two binomials. So factors of x squared will be x times x. Then let's find out factors of 8. Factors of 8 that when added, the sum is 9. So what are possible factors of 8? Can be 8 times 1, can also be 4 times 2. So since both of them are factors of 8, so we are just going to think of the right factors for it. So which of these two factors that when added, the sum is 9? So obviously, that's 8 times 1. So we're going to use 8 times 1 or 8 and 1 as the factors of 8 and added the sum is 9. And these two numbers will form the factors of this quadratic binomial. So their sign will serve as the operation when we write it here in its factors. Positive 8, so this will become plus 8, positive 1, then that will become plus 1. Then from here, let's apply the zero product property. That is zero product property. So paano yun? So we are going to separate these two factors and equate them into 0. That will be x plus 8 equals 0, then x plus 1 equals 0. Because we know that quadratic equation has two roots. So we are going to find out its roots here by using factoring. So solve for the x here by moving 8 to the right and 1 to the right here to the other side of the equation. Then x sub 1 here, the first solution will be 8, that will become negative 8. Then x is equal to move 1, that will become negative 1. So therefore, the solutions are x sub 1 is negative 8, while x sub 2 is negative 1. So that's how we make use of factoring as a method in solving quadratic equation. So for you to understand it more clearly, let's try another example. So that's why example number 2. Y squared minus 5y is equal to 14, for example. So in that example, that's also the same similar example to number 1. The first thing you're going to do is to move 14 to the left side of the equation. So positive 14, it will become negative 14 when you move it to the left side by using subtraction property of equality. So we'll have y squared minus 5y minus 14 is equal to 0. So that it is already written in general form of the quadratic equation. So from here, we know that its factors are two binomials. The factors of y squared are y times y. Then using again sum and product method, so we are going to find factors of negative 14 that when added, the sum is negative 5. Factors of 14, that is 14 times 1, 7 times 2. So since negative yung 14, so the other number should be negative. Negative 14 and negative 7. It can also be negative 1 times 14 or also be negative 2 times 7. But we are going to choose the right factors that when added, the sum is negative 5. So, disregard na natin itong negative 1 and 14. Because obviously, when we added that, uh, we'll not come up with the answer negative 5. So, these two will be left. Since negative 5 is the answer, so we are going to choose the factors wherein when we added, the sum is negative 5. So, it should be the factors whose higher number is negative. And that higher number, regardless of the sign, is 7. Since it's negative, so when we added that would become negative 5. So these are the right factors. So those factors will form the factors of this quadratic trinomial, including their signs. Since it's negative, this will be minus 7, and since this is positive, that will be plus 2. Then 0 product property, y minus 7 is equal to 0, and y plus 2 is equal to 0. Then move your negative 7 and then positive 2 to the right side of the equation to find out for the value or the solution to the given quadratic equation. So we'll have y is equal to 7 as y sub 1, then y is equal to negative 2 as y sub 2. Therefore, the solutions are 7 and negative 2. Would you like to try another example? So let's have this example number. Okay, for example number 3, we're going to use example x squared plus 7x plus 10 is equal to 0. So as you can see, the equation is already written in the general form of the quadratic equation. So right away, we can apply factoring. That is by using sum and product method. So what we are going to do, we are going to take of factors of 10 that will be added. The sum is 7. So we know that the factors of it of the quadratic trinomial are binomials. So factors of x squared will be x times x. Then factors of 10. Let's find out factors of it. That will be 10 times 1 and 5 times 2. Since both these are positive, so we can consider both of them are positive. So since the middle term is positive, so we need to say the two factors are positive. So which of these two factors that when added the sum is 7? Of course, that would be 5 and 2. So that 5 and 2 will form the factors of the quadratic trinomial. So positive 5, that's why it's plus 5, positive 2, that's why it's plus 2. Then 0 product property, x plus 5 equals 0 and x plus 2 equals 0. Then move 5 to the right side of the equation. It will be x is equal to negative 5 as x sub 1, then x sub 2 is equal to negative. So we'll have this as its solutions. That is if your a is equal to 1. But if your a is greater than 1, so just like this example. Okay, let's just like this example. So, number 4, 2x squared minus 3x minus 9 is equal to 0. How are we going to solve for this given quadratic equation? So this time, in order for us to do that, we are going to make use of what we call subtract method. Yan tawag kong subtract method. Combination of the sum and product method and the AC method. So we're going to make use of the AC. Paano yung AC method? The A here and the C. So that's what we are that's what we are pertaining to. That's the AC. So how are we we're going to factor it. So we have to find its factors. But before we do that, let's find first the product of A and C. The A, the numerical coefficient, and the C. That's 2 times negative 18. The 2 times negative 9 rather. 2 times negative 9, the answer is negative 18. So now, using sum and product method, find out factors of negative 18 that when added the sum is negative 3. This will become the sum. So ano ba ang mga factors ng negative 18? That is 6 times 3, 9 times 2, 18 times 1, obviously, it's just 3. Ang equal lang to 3 dyan ay 6 times 3. So since negative 18 yun, dapat negative yung isa. But you are going to look at the middle operation. The middle numerical coefficient, that's negative 3. So since it's negative 3, if we're going to choose this, since it's negative 3, therefore we can say that the larger number in 6 and 3 will be negative. So the 6 will be negative. So that negative 6 and 3 will be the right factors for negative 18. Then, for the first terms of its factors, whatever the numerical coefficient and the variable being used there is R, or is the numerical, is the first terms of the factors of its binomial factors. So that's 2 numerical and x. So we'll have here 2x and 2x. Then, negative 6 and 3, the right factors for negative 18, together with their sign. So negative 6 minus 6, positive 6, that would be positive 3, then it's plus 3. But if we're going to look at this binomial factor, this binomial factor can still be simplified because both 2 and 6 are divisible by 2. So we can simplify it by dividing it by 2, so we'll come up with x minus 3 times the quantity 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. Because if we're going to make use of this factor, it will not be equal to this. So unless we simplify this, with x minus 3, then when you find the product of these two, that will now be equal to this one. Then 0 product, x minus 3 is equal to 0, then 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. So move yung 3 to the right side, and also to the other side. Then we do have here x is equal to 3 as the first solution. Then on the other side, we do have here 2x is equal to negative 3. So it's not yet true because x still has 2. So we still have to remove 2 there. That is by dividing both sides by 2. Then x will be left. That's x up is equal now to negative 3 over. That would be the answer for the sample number 4.
Nasagutan mo
But,
mo, Jun.
another example.